Hello, dear students. Let us learn Ignou BS Sociology BSOC 104 Block 1 Unit 3 Ideological Images of India. First of all, let us go through the meaning of ideological images of India. What does that term mean? An ideology is a set of ideas, beliefs, and values through which people understand society. Different thinkers and groups have imagined India in different ways. These images influence politics, nationalism, social reform, and identity. There are different images through which we can look upon India. Some nationalist thinkers viewed India as a nationalist, secular state, and their point of view can be termed as a kind of a nationalistic view. But the colonial rulers, especially the British rulers, viewed India as a caste-oriented, divided society, and they believed that India need British rule so as to get civilized itself. And there is yet another view that is known as Hindu colonialist image, and there is yet another view known as a secular and a pluralist image. And fifth image or perspective was the image by Ambedkar, and sixth image was Nehru's point of view or Nehru's perspective. So we have to learn about these six different types of point of views or images that different categories or sections of people viewed India. And let us go through the first image of India, that is the colonial image of India. Colonial scholars and administrators always viewed India as a traditional backward society, and it is divided by caste, religion, and region. The colonial rulers, especially the British people, thought that India is a caste-based divided society, and India is a society which is divided by religion and also by region. And they also believed that India is incapable of self-government. India is a state needing British rule for India's progress. But actually, was it a correct point of view? No, it was a kind of biased point of view. Okay, so there arose a lot of criticism against the colonial point of view. The major criticisms were this image justified colonial domination. That was the first criticism. This colonial image of India really justified their domination. And secondly, it ignored India's diversity, India's achievements, India's cultural heritage, and India's unity, and India's capacity for self-rule. So, we can say that, undoubtedly we can say that it was not a perfect view. Colonial point of view was not a perfect view as far as India is concerned. And the next image is nationalist image of India. Indian nationalists challenged colonial views. Main features of nationalist views were India has a long and rich civilization. Indian nationalist scholars believed that India has a long and rich tradition, and it was really true. Harappan civilization was one of the world's ancient civilizations, and it prevailed in India, in ancient India. So India has a long and rich ancient civilization, and our cultural unity exists in spite of our diversity. That is another very important point. We have a good harmony and cultural unity in spite of our diversity. And the third point is Indians are capable of governing themselves. We are capable of governing ourselves as per the nationalist viewpoint of view or nationalist image. Indians are capable of ruling ourselves. And the fourth point was nationalism became a force against colonial rule. Okay, nationalism became a force against colonialism. Yes, that was another thing that the nationalist scholars viewed upon. Who were the important leaders who stood for nationalist view of India? Nationalist who portrayed a kind of nationalist image of India? Yes, Gandhi, Nehru, Ambedkar. These three people, these three men stood for a kind of a nationalist view of India. Gandhi, Nehru, India, and Ambedkar. Then next point of view was a kind of a religious one, Hindu nationalist image. That is the another image portrayed by some religious personalities. Emphasizes this view emphasizes India's ancient Hindu cultural heritage. This view emphasizes India's ancient Hindu cultural heritage, and the views it views that Hindu civilization as the core of Indian identity. This view has the only one bias that Hindu civilization is the only only major identity as far as India is concerned. So this point of view avoids or negates the chances of a minority religions also. That is the one criticism against this. Stress this these people stresses cultural nationalism and the revival of our ancient traditions. These Hindu nationalist scholars always stressed or gave emphasis on India's cultural nationalism and the revival of our ancient traditions. So there were a lot of criticisms against this Hindu nationalist image. First criticism was it may overlook India's religious and cultural pluralism. It may overlook, it may sometimes ignore India's religious harmony. Okay, it may really create some kind of conflicts or some kind of ignoring when the about the religious minorities of India. And another point of view or another image of India was say a kind of secular and pluralist image. India is a multicultural and multi-religious society. Our diversity is considered as our strength, and we this as per this secular pluralist image, we give importance to each and every community, each and every society, each and every religion and caste and region, and also for all the languages. We give equal respect for everyone. Everyone. That was the major point of view put forward by secular pluralist scholars. So the kind of image portrayed by them is known as secular pluralist image. This view promoted was actually promoted through constitutional values and democracy. It gave priority and importance to India's constitution and India's constitutional values and especially democracy. So they always put India as a democratic country, not as a religious nation. And what were the key ideas of this kind of secular pluralist image? The major ideas behind secular pluralist image were unity in diversity, secularism, equality, citizenship. Then lastly, Ambedkar's point of view. Ambedkar, we all know that Ambedkar was a great personality who chaired the India's constitution's drafting committee, and also he always stood forward the stood for the cause of backward community. Also, he himself was a person who came from the backward community, and he criticized caste inequality. He argued that Ambedkar argued that political democracy must be accompanied by social democracy. Social democracy should also be satisfied. Social democracy should also be completed or accomplished when we when we fight for political democracy. So, as for Ambedkar, he emphasized liberty, equality, and fraternity. We all know that these were the motto slogans which came at the time of French Revolution, which come up at the time of French Revolution. Okay, he emphasized these values like liberty, equality, and fraternity. He advocated rights for marginalized groups. He advocated for marginalized groups. What were the key words as per this Ambedkar's image of India? Social justice, equality, constitutionalism. He always wished that India should become a nation which give priority to social justice, equality, and constitutionalism. And lastly, India's first Prime Minister Nehru had his own vision about how people should view India, and Nehru's perspective was like that. He supported a kind of a scientific temper and a modernization. Nehru always supported a kind of a scientific temper and modernization. All the people and children should believe in science and modernity. He believed in India's democracy and secularism and planning. He implemented 5-year plans borrowed from Russia, and it was first implemented in Russia by Joseph Stalin. And that socialistic ideology and also planning was borrowed by Nehru from Russia. So he also believed that India should move in a planned manner. Okay. And lastly, he saw India as a modern nation state with diverse cultures. He saw India as a modern nation state with diverse cultures. So now we have to look upon the important exam points of this chapter: meaning of ideological image and colonial image of India, nationalist image of India, Ambedkar's vision of India, Nehru's idea of modern India, and secular and pluralist image of India. Thank you.